Now, your host for Public Pulse, Floyd Whiting.
Good morning and welcome to Public Pulse. Now, the weather outside is frightful. Temperatures are not expected to return to tolerable levels until sometime this weekend, so stay warm and stay inside if you can. Now, braving the cold to join me this morning is the chief of the Sheridan Police Department, Travis Koltiska, and Captain Tom Ringley. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning, Floyd.
Now, as this is the kind of weather that people just shouldn't be out in, and I don't know what it would take for folks to want to go outside. But is there anything you would like people to keep in mind regarding safety during weather like this?
Absolutely. I mean, first and foremost, is one of the biggest dangers of people being outside in this, the exposure potential that they can have. If you don't have to go anywhere, we encourage that.
Yeah.
It's absolutely unnecessary. Now, we understand. We have to work. We have businesses. We have to keep the machine rolling, right? So there's necessities out there, and people have to go out there. But if you are out driving and you have to take, a drive that's going to take a little bit of time, have a plan. Make sure you stay in contact with friends and family. Thankfully, we have cell phones. Back when we were all growing up and there were no cell phones, it was like
you were on your own out there.
Yeah, you really were. But now, we have some more safety mechanisms in place with this technology. And so, have those plans. Let people know where you're going, what you're doing, and check in.
Chief, I might have you move. Your mic is cutting out so bad.
I was doing that this morning on the the pickers.
I see Trevor got some of the engineers bouncing around out there. We'll see what we can get done. Make sure that one's on for you, Chief.
Yeah, and more to that, especially with school being out, the date's probably not the day to let an inexperienced driver out on the street.
Very good point.
It's because part of our concern is what people don't think about. Every time there's an accident, we have officers out exposed to the cold as well. And I know people probably think it's our job, but it is. But we mitigate all risk to our ladies and gentlemen on the street, and it's just preventable.
They might look impervious,
yeah,
but officers feel that cold as well.
Yeah.
So now, is that all you would like folks to know about that? Can we move on to the myths, or is there anything else you would like them to know regarding
I think
cold temperature? I
think we're pretty used to it here in this part of the country.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a while, and this is some extreme cold, but for the most part, in Sheridan, it's my experience that a lot of people are prepared. This didn't surprise anybody. We saw this coming, so a lot of people, they usually have some sort of preparation in place. They have supplies in their vehicles if they do happen to get off the road, and no emergency services can get to them right away. So those are some of the things that I think we're a little more resilient.
Yeah.
And so, but I just want people to still use care and take some of these things like the captain mentioned and what I mentioned into consideration before they have to go anywhere.
And always remember, this isn't going to last forever. Hunkering down for a couple days. My wife and I had to do it when that blizzard came through Buffalo. We couldn't make it to work. You didn't want to go outside. So we always make sure we get enough food for about 3 days. After that, we're going to end up having to do a little bit more. But we got a good 3-day supply.
And over the weekend, we had 3 public intoxication arrests where people had fallen down. This isn't the time to do that either.
Yeah.
It's never a good time to drink to that excess, but luckily either our officers or people saw the people falling and reported them, but in this weather, it would take no time for someone to succumb to hypothermia.
And that's something that we've talked about a lot. Yep. It is a myth that you will get arrested walking home drunk. It is a myth, and we'll discuss that in a minute, but I want people to understand that you can walk home, but you've got to have, a thought process to it. You can't.
In this weather, just don't drink to that point.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, it's not smart.
And you get out there, and we both, I think all 3 of us have horror stories about that type of situation and what officers have had to deal with. Now, throughout the year, officers with the Sheridan Police Department come across information presented to them by the public, which is not necessarily accurate. Last year, Captain, we covered some serious police myths, and today we're going to cover some more misconceptions. Now, misinformation spreads pretty rapidly. Some myths are a little bit older than others. Some of these ones that you sent to me this morning, I have believed my whole life.
And these are courtesy of officers. I didn't come up with these myself.
Oh, so this is what they actually hear out there on the streets still. And, Winston Churchill once said, a lie gets halfway around the world before the truth has a chance to get its pants on. So when we really look at this, I mean, what are the sources of this misinformation?
Well, if you look at the media, and whether it's entertainment media or news media, what's always above the crease, so to speak? It's crime. Crime sells. The people producing media know that crime sells, so therefore they produce crime stories.
Yeah.
A lot of which are true and a lot of which aren't, but especially on the on television shows and movies. If you look at which shows are the most popular, most of them are crimes. You really don't see that many popular firefighter movies or shows. There's some good ones, I'm sure, but they're just not as numerous as the police ones.
Everyone loves watching cops run, catch the bad guy. I mean, look at Die Hard.
Yeah.
My favorite Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Don't tell Bruce Willis that.
But it's also like what you just mentioned, Floyd, is there's a fact in there somewhere, but by the time it
filters
through and word of mouth and all that, then it's a falsehood.
And it's amazing. We used to call that the telephone game.
Yes.
And in the military, they actually show you, they give a demonstration. I think everybody's done this in school. You tell someone at the beginning of the line something, and everybody has to whisper it in the ear of the person next to them. And then you go to the end, what is the information? And 9 times out of 10, it will be completely wrong.
Yeah. Well, another military term is a jailhouse lawyer.
Yes.
And sometimes jail's replaced by something else. But that's where a lot of these come. It's just these jailhouse lawyers that think they know the law or trying to use it to their advantage.
And so they want to tell you, don't you worry about that. You can ask them this.
Yes.
And he has to answer.
Yes.
Well, unless that's an officer, I'm going to tell you right now, they're probably wrong. Or a lawyer.
Yes.
It's the people who actually do this for a living. So how often are you looking through your social media and you come across something where you're like, that is completely false?
It's common. It's not something that is on every single post, but there are those individuals who will put stuff out there that's not accurate, and we wrestle with it a lot, honestly. Do we correct them, and do we, depending on what the situation is, do we get out there and say this is absolutely inaccurate information? Now, if it's something that is, can really cause some public harm, then that's one thing. If they're purposely trying to incite fear in the community or stuff like that, we have a duty to squash that.
Absolutely.
A lot of it's directed towards individuals within the department, myself, other officers. And, a lot of it, like we said before, is kind of white noise. A lot of people see right through it. They filter that themselves. And it doesn't lean a lot of credit to that individual, and the rest of the community sees that, hey, that's just not accurate. That's not true.
It's probably 2 categories. The first category would be people who we've held accountable and aren't happy about that. And the second is just people that have received misinformation and as part of healthy discourse or just putting their thoughts out there, which is probably exactly what our social media is for.
Yeah.
It's a government site. We don't block anyone from it. We don't delete comments unless they're like the chief, fall into the category the chief just mentioned. But it's a great way, not only for the community to learn, it's a good way for us to learn what concerns are as well.
Yeah, it is kind of a bit of the pulse of the community, isn't it?
And if there is something out there that's commonly misunderstood, it's our duty. We want to make sure that people understand the reality of that.
And sometimes you have to really stop and pay attention to what the community is saying, because even I've been completely wrong about what is a priority. With the open line show, trying to come up with good subjects to talk about that are concerning the community, that train was a much bigger deal. That engine up there was a much bigger deal than I would have ever guessed it to be. I mean, people were pretty set on they either wanted it moved or they wanted it right where she was at. And so I was, when that first came across my desk, I thought, this is a news story at best, Oh, no. That was an open line discussion with some very passionate individuals within the community. And so that one kind of surprised even me. Now, let's go over some common myths. Now, this one I knew was false, but there was always a question in there somewhere. Myth: undercover police officers have to identify themselves.
False.
Absolutely. What sense would that make?
I don't know, but I have encountered it in my time where people say, yeah, all you have to do is ask them if they're an undercover police officer, and if they are, they're required by law to tell you that they are. It is totally unreal. It's not. That would actually compromise officers' safety. It would compromise a lot of things. That I don't know how that one started, to be honest with you, but it's. I've heard it my entire career.
I looked into it a little bit, and the genesis is actually drug deals.
Yeah.
Like, hey man, are you a cop?
You got to tell me if you're a cop.
Before I sell you this stuff.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's completely false.
All right. Now, here's another one. One that is in Hollywood a lot. Usually whenever a bad guy or hero gets arrested, what's the first thing he says? I want my phone call. Now, the right to a phone call in jail. What is the truth behind this?
A person who is cooperative with detention staff, who will cooperate with the booking process, is allotted a phone call at the end of it. But that's not a right. There's no right to a phone call, especially combative individuals, those who refuse to participate, or participate's probably poor choice of words, cooperate with the booking process. That's not like open participation. But individuals who do that are not allotted a phone call. So once you cooperate, once you answer all the questions, you allow fingerprints to be taken and go through the entire step-by-step process, then yes, you are allowed a phone call. And I say allowed a phone call.
Yeah, not the right to one.
And we have a fantastic jail staff, and they don't enjoy people coming to jail and going to jail anymore, and we enjoy taking people to jail. They would love to get people out as soon as possible. So I've seen people get 3 or 4 phone calls that have been super cooperative and working with the jail staff so they can bond out.
Yeah, it's not just one.
Yeah.
That's a Hollywood misconception, something that I don't know who started putting that out there.
This sounds good.
Yeah, I want my phone call. Yeah. You cannot get pulled over for only going 5 miles per hour above the speed limit. Now, personal admission, in some situations, and there are absolute exceptions, I usually go about 5, maybe 3 to 5 miles an hour over the speed limit, thinking I'm still in a safe zone.
Yeah, there's no statute of limitations, Floyd.
And when issuing a woman's citation years and years ago, she told me she's going well over 10. But I thought you gave us 9. And
oh, wow.
I don't even know what that means. The speed limit is the speed limit. Now, given the workload of an officer, the road conditions, and whatever else they have going on, you may or may not get pulled over at 5 over. Today, you absolutely would.
Yeah. It is risky out there.
In a school zone, you absolutely
Oh,
would.
absolutely.
So there's different, in a construction zone, there are different circumstances that we take into measure before we decide to, but yeah, you can get pulled over for going 31 miles per hour in a 30 mile per hour zone.
And it all kind of depends on the situation.
Yes.
Absolutely.
But
there's no buffer.
Yeah.
If we see someone driving 35 to 30, then we do go through the decision-making process of whether or not we're going to pull them over.
And our policy allows our officers to have that discretion to make that decision.
Absolutely. Their own judgment out there. And as the captain said, today's situation, you are most definitely getting pulled over, going any above the speed limit. Now, officers can pull up driver insurance information on their in-car computers.
That is false.
That is false.
We have access to limited driver's license information and registration, but insurance is not. There are the county requests your when you register your vehicle, they request your insurance information, and they will put on there whether there's insurance was proven at the time of registration. But somebody can go in there, buy a month's insurance, they get a 6-month card, they can, and then if it's lapsed, it may not be valid according to that computer. So we require drivers to provide proof of valid insurance.
And that is why you have to have it in the car.
Correct.
And that's state statute.
A lot of people believe that that computer in there is a know-all, end-all for officers. All they got to do is type your name in and everything about you pops up. But that's not true.
No, no. What we can get is local contacts with us and limited driver's license and registration information. But if you think about what we're looking at on a traffic stop, our priority is scene safety. So we're not going to waste a lot of time reading through a report or looking at a computer screen when we don't have to.
Well, and I think a lot of individuals out there believe that they don't have the rights that they do, you know, and it's really odd the way that society kind of cherry picks that. You know, they take too much here, but then they don't here. Your rights protect your privacy.
Yes.
And so officers don't have like this unlimited access to your background. And that's one reason why the military takes so many steps in doing a background process for top secret clearance, because that's not information that we just keep laying around. That's an entire department to look that up. And that's only if you're applying for some very, secure things. So yeah, everyone needs to kind of remember that when they go back to that computer and they type those numbers in, they are very limited on the amount of information that they're actually allowed to see. Now, here's one that I do want people to understand, because I've known that this one was a myth for a while.
This is a repeat.
This is a repeat. And it's one of those things that we kind of have to go over quite a bit. But officers have to provide their badge number upon demand.
That's absolutely false. And the reason I carried it over from last year is I still, in reviewing body camera footage, people just scream at officers, name and badge number. There is no statute or policy that requires us to provide our badge numbers. It's not really a thing. We will tell people our names, and if we want to knock the ball out of the park, we may or may not provide our badge number. It's on our badges.
If we have a badge number.
Yes.
Our patrol officers are the only ones that have badge numbers.
Oh, really? Detectives?
Sergeants and corporal, sergeants, lieutenants, captain, myself, there's no number on our badge.
Oh, wow.
It's the rank insignia is on our badge.
Wow.
We have a radio number, but that's a totally different animal. But the line officers are the only ones that have numbers on their badges anyway, so it would not be, when they ask for our badge number, it's like we don't have one.
Yeah, doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist. But we will give name and department number and the information they need to identify us.
And every interaction, I mean, what are you going to do with that information?
Yeah.
Because I'm upset. I want to show you that I have some sort of power and control in the situation.
Almost always take the high road and provide it.
Right.
But we're not required to provide it by any rule. Neither are we required. Another myth is you have to give me your business card. No, we don't.
No, yeah. I don't even know where that one came from. Wow. Okay. We're actually running out of time here. So it's okay to call 911 for non-emergencies.
911 is 911 for a reason. And if that phone rings, the 911 rings into dispatch, so there's an emergency going on, it's going to need the proper attention and resources. So we ask people to only utilize that line for 911.
If you just need to call the police to report something.
Please call.
Yeah.
If it's a non-emergency situation, please call the regular line.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you know that number right offhand?
672-2413.
There we go. And that's for everything that is a non-emergency, as the chief said. If you do have an emergency, folks, give that a call. Now, there are new black patrol cars on the streets of Sheridan.
Yes, we do not have the feds patrolling our streets.
Those are ours.
Yes, they're ours. Probably starting about a year ago, we started talking about rebranding from our white patrol vehicles and the blue and yellow stripings and letterings to something that's a bit more contemporary and looks a bit more like us. I mean, our uniforms are blue. Mm-hmm. They're very plain and simple. They don't say call 911 on them because people know to call 911. They don't say protect and serve on them because we've never had that on our cars, and that's an LAPD motto, not ours. But we're moving towards four-wheel drive Dodge Durangos for a lot of reasons. Days like today. They are actually, someone on our social media page had a great point. They're a lot more visible in the snow.
Absolutely. And
for various reasons, the price is not that much more than a Charger, and what we get for that price differential is huge. So we're pretty happy about it. Our guys like like them, and then from the feedback we've received so far from the community, the community likes them quite a bit too.
I've seen them. They look great.
Yeah.
And the utility behind those is much more practical for the area that we live in.
100%. I mean, I think everybody who's been working in this area in this weather has been stuck in snow drifts and many more times than we've had to go really fast somewhere.
Yeah.
They still will give us all the capabilities we need to respond to emergency calls in a timely fashion. But if it's weather like this, we'll be able to get there because of the four-wheel drive. So
absolutely.
And the capacity. One of the big thing is comfort, not only for the front seat passengers but also for the back seat. And trying to get somebody down into a patrol car in the back seat in handcuffs is very, very difficult, and it's not very comfortable. They're not designed to be comfortable, but getting somebody straight into a Dodge Durango and a SUV of some sort is much easier on everybody.
Instead of the old watch your head and you gotta Yep. Like we see in the movies.
Exactly.
All right, on that, when we come back, we're going to continue with our Sheridan Police Department. This is Public Pulse on 930 KROE and 103.9 FM, Sheridan.
First Federal Bank and Trust is excited to announce the First Federal Community Commitment Program.
Each week for 52 weeks starting in January, First Federal will select a Sheridan County nonprofit who will receive $1,000 in cash, plus Sheridan Media will match that with a marketing budget.
You can find an entry form at any First Federal Bank location or online at efirstfederal.bank. If you've received a donation from First Federal in the last 3 years, you're automatically entered into the drawing.
Community Commitment, presented by
First Federal Bank and Trust
and Sheridan Media.
Member FDIC.
It's the final week to enter for a chance to win one of 12 gift certificates from Moss Holders Design Center. There's no purchase necessary. Just enter your name and number, and Moss Holders may give you a call to let you know you've won up to $500 worth of furniture. While shopping, see what Moss Holders has on sale this week. Choose a new recliner or sofa, mattress or dining set. Each day, Moss Holders has a new product on sale. Let Moss Holders put some fun in your Christmas shopping this year. Moss Holders Christmas sale ends at 6 o'clock on December 23rd. Moss Holders, furniture is our passion.
Our $2,500 gift card giveaway continues. Ho, ho, ho! Kurt Smith here from the Sheridan Commercial Company. Your name could join the winner's circle that we have posted in our store. You can't win if you don't enter. Every day through Friday, we draw 10 $50 gift card winners each day. Come on down, sign up today, and every day. We'll be open Christmas Eve until 2 p.m. Merry Christmas from all of us at the Sheridan Commercial Company at 303 Broadway.
The holiday season is upon us, and the Wyoming Beer Distributors Association would like to remind you to enjoy your favorite alcoholic beverage responsibly. If you've had too much to drink, don't drive. If you host a party, be the perfect host to make sure your guests don't drive with one too many under their belt. Drinking and driving just don't mix. The Wyoming Beer Distributors wish everyone a happy and safe holiday season. This message sponsored by the Wyoming Beer Distributors Association, the Wyoming Association of Broadcasters, and this station.
Is your car ready for winter weather? Not sure? Well, take it to Midas Tire and Auto for a free 32-point inspection that focuses on winter needs like batteries, belts, hoses, antifreeze, and tires. If something needs repaired, Midas will give you a quote. So no obligation. From basic maintenance to major repairs, Midas is ready to keep you safely on the road this winter season. Schedule now before the worst of winter weather hits. Protect yourself and your family with a quick trip to Midas Tire and Auto in Sheridan.
MDU wants you to get lit this holiday season. Not that way. They want to see your holiday decorations. Take a photo of your pretty lights and holiday decorations and upload it to the Get Lit for the Holidays photo contest, presented by MDU. There's plenty of incentive. You could win a $200 gift certificate to Sheridan Liquor, $200 in chamber bucks from MDU, and $200 in chamber bucks from State Farm Insurance and Gardner. Upload your photo now on the contest page at SheridanMedia.com. Winner by most votes must be 21 to enter.
Good morning and welcome back to Public Pulse, brought to you by our friends out there, First Federal Bank and Trust. I'm Floyd Whiting. This morning I am joined by the Chief of the Sheridan Police Department, Travis Koltiska, and Captain of the Force, Tom Ringley. Now, we've been discussing some well-known myths many folks believe regarding the police and some practices that they employ. The last myth that we discussed was the new black patrol vehicles here in Sheridan, and that one is certainly true. The feds have not invaded. We are all okay. Another one is that the chief said is certainly true, and that's police officers enjoy donuts.
100%.
100%.
I don't know anybody that doesn't, to be honest with you. So we're as Captain has said many times, we're a segment of our own society, and who doesn't like donuts?
Right? Yeah, it's the greatest treat. Now, Captain, you and I talked about this last year. One reason why that myth even began in the first place was officers in major metropolitan areas up all hours of the night. And back in the day, 24-hour places weren't really common except donut shops and bakeries.
Yes.
Because they had to have everything ready by the time people walked through that door.
I think our local donut shop, if I remember correctly, they're up at 2 or 3 or whatever in the morning working. And if it was a sit down, it's somewhere
You got to
open.
get those fresh donuts ready for the early morning crowd.
Yeah, we have to eat, and we take breaks like everyone else. Like I said, we're just people. We don't slave people for 12 hours.
Yeah.
At a pop, our guys are encouraged to take breaks out in the community, and that's one way that they did it in the cities.
And one of the, back in the day, those old beat cops, they didn't have a car. They were walking around. And in the middle of winter, you need some place to go get a nice warm cup of coffee.
It's funny. I mean, I'll eat a donut in uniform, and if I hear anything, I'll just ask people if they want to go for a run.
Yeah, there you go.
And now looking at our last couple of hires, like 10, they don't look like they eat a lot of sugar. They're hiring people that are in good shape. So yeah, we realize it's good natured, but yeah, we like donuts. We like ice cream, and we like puppies too. So, just like everyone else.
And it's a great reason as to like where that actually originated. Because I'm sure people were walking around all the time thinking, God, these cops are always in the donut shop.
And it also implies that our officers are fat and out of shape, which is absolutely
not true at all. They've got to go through some pretty heavy requirements to keep that uniform on. Now, I've run out of time. There are some other myths that we will talk about, but Chief, Captain, I want to thank you both so much for coming in today. Merry Christmas to you, your families, and everyone on the
to you and yours, Floyd, and everyone else out there.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk with the Buffalo Police Department. This is Public Pulse on 930 KROE and 103.9 FM, Sheridan.
First Federal Bank and Trust is committed to our community.
Beginning in January, we'll be donating $1,000 cash each week for 52 weeks to a qualified Sheridan County nonprofit organization, and Sheridan Media will match that with a marketing budget.
First Federal is one of 2 mutual banks in Wyoming, which means they don't pay stockholders. They reinvest your funds right back into the place we call home. Visit efirstfederal.bank for details. Community commitment, presented by
First Federal Bank and Trust
and Sheridan Media.
Member FDIC.
When the unexpected happens, you may wonder what's next. Champion Funeral Home can help you through this phase of life. They provide support and personal services while helping you create a meaningful tribute to your loved one. Champion Funeral Home has been locally owned and operated since 1911, providing compassion and care to Sheridan and Johnson County. Visit Champion Funeral Home at championfh.com or call 674-6329.
Is that pain in your shoulder keeping you up at night? Are you feeling numbness and tingling in your hand? Has your neck or back acted up coming off the mountain? Sheridan Ortho excels in the diagnosis, treatment, and surgery of the upper extremities and spine. The team of surgeons at Sheridan Ortho offer cutting-edge care in sports medicine as well, including minimally invasive procedures like hip arthroscopy and regenerative therapy. Sheridan Orthopedics serves the community with emergency care 24/7, 365, and has for over 50 years. Some same-day appointments available. Visit SheridanOrtho.com.
Westview Healthcare Center and Saddle Ridge Therapy Center would like to wish you all of the blessings that this Christmas season has to offer. During this glorious time of year, Westview and Saddle Ridge Therapy would like to encourage you to remember that the people that surround you are the true gifts of the season, and time spent with family and friends in the moment is the real present. Brought to you by Westview Healthcare Center and Saddle Ridge Therapy Center. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Wrap Plumbing and Heating can handle any job you have, big or small. From new construction to a pesky leaking toilet, the professionals at Wrap Plumbing and Heating are here to assist you. Drippy faucet? Sure. New shower hardware? No problem. Plumbing an entire new house? For sure. Clogs that need snaked? Oh yeah. Rapp Plumbing and Heating has not met a job they can't handle. Too big a crap? Call Dan Rapp at 429-1196.
Get your holidays going with a new Chevy Malibu LS from Hammer Chevrolet, Troy Baker.
Bob, you'll be driving in style with this fun and sporty Malibu. It has a 1.5 turbo 4-cylinder engine that gets 29 miles per gallon in the city and 36 on the highway. It has a very roomy cabin and large trunk, priced at $29,570.
The new Chevy Malibu LT. See it today at Hammer Chevrolet in the showroom, 107 East Alger, online, hammerchevy.com.
Welcome back on the program. We're going to send it to Floyd here in just a minute. Want to let you know, road and travel, I-90 between Sheridan and Buffalo is now closed. I-90 between Sheridan and Buffalo is closed right now. Also, Buffalo to U-Cross is closed. Sheridan to U-Cross closed as well. I-90 Sheridan to Buffalo is closed. And Floyd, take it away.
I want to thank you for that, Trevor. That's news. I'm going to be here for a while.
Hear?
Yeah. It looks like old Floyd is stuck in Sheridan for the time. Kind of unknown, isn't it? We're not sure when and if that's going to open up for the remainder of the day, but I do want to say good morning and welcome back to Public Pulse. We are brought to you by our friends out there at First Federal Bank and Trust. And for the second part of the show, I am joined by the Chief of the Buffalo Police Department, Sean Bissett. Good morning, Chief. How's the wind in Buffalo?
Good morning, Floyd. It is howling. I have no power at the house. I might be in the same boat you're in, and just hoping everybody's staying safe out there and stay off the roads if you can. It's pretty nasty.
My goodness. You and I might be at work a lot longer than what we planned for today.
Exactly.
Now, the weather this year, of course, is a bit over the edge. How did everyone fare during that last blizzard? I was stuck at the house myself for 3 days.
Yeah, it was a chore for sure. I have to thank everybody out there, that the community was great. I mean, we had some folks get stuck, and we were out there. City crews were out there working 24/7 with snow removal. They did a wonderful job keeping the roads open around our schools so our families could get to the schools safely. And so everybody pitched in to help each other out, whether it was us pushing cars. We had people stopping, offering their assistance. So we did pretty good for those 3 days. I mean, that wind was just crazy, and trying to keep our roads open and keep people safe was the number one priority, and our crew did a phenomenal job.
Absolutely. And, one thing that I do want to say, I think it was last Tuesday, my wife and I stuck at the house, and I thought, I'm going to take my garbage out to the curb just in case, but I really don't think it's going to get picked up. It got picked up. Really surprised me. Those guys did a great job.
They did. They did a phenomenal job.
Dedicated, and I really do appreciate them. Now, what would you say, Chief, is the greatest challenge to the department itself during intense weather such as this?
Sometimes, Floyd, it's being able to get to the calls we need to get to. We had some issues where we needed to get to a house and the drifts were so high. And I got to give my officers a lot of credit. Everybody showed up to work. We have a couple that live in Sheridan. They made the sacrifice, whether they got to stay in town. I had a dispatcher that ended up staying here in town because she knew she wasn't sure if the highway was going to be closed or not. So there's a lot of sacrifice that goes in with that. So I think the biggest challenge is just knowing, one, is making sure our personnel is here, which everybody showed up for work, whether it was early, staying late. Just a great job with that. And again, if we needed assistance getting to a house or a road that might be blocked because of a drift, we called the city crew or the county, and we just worked very well together in ensuring that we could get where we needed to go to handle the calls that we had to handle.
And that's a testimony to the city coming together as one big unified team to make sure.
Absolutely.
That everyone is being safe out there.
Yep.
Another thing, Chief, you and I have had conversations regarding the growing fentanyl issue in northern Wyoming. Buffalo officers have been recognized for saving the lives of folks experiencing an overdose from that stuff. Recently, there was a drug seizure. I don't know a whole lot about this. What details can you share with us regarding the recent drug seizure by the Buffalo Police Department?
Yeah. So, Floyd, what I can tell you is we had an active investigation. We had some information from some officers. We had, some folks giving us some information that required quite a bit of investigating. One of our officers located a subject that had just an open warrant for a probation violation. And what ultimately that turned into, Floyd, was 5 arrests, multiple search warrants. One of the search warrants at the house here in town resulted in 3 of those arrests. We seized over a half a pound of methamphetamine.
Whoa.
9 ounces of meth, so, over a half a pound. We seized 130 grams of marijuana and 2.6 grams of psilocybin mushrooms, the psychedelic mushrooms. Also, with that, we ended up recovering a handgun on one of the individuals that was prohibited. So we reached out to our brothers at the ATF, which that case will go federally. And then we made another felony amount of meth at a seizure when somebody came to visit somebody at the jail. So,
wow.
And that was using Highway Patrol, their canine. We used the sheriff's office, assisted us with those search warrants. And I think one of the biggest things, Floyd, and I've talked about it, this year were able to get some programs and some equipment through Operation Underground Railroad that enables us to analyze forensically all our cell phones, computers, anything digital we can do in-house now. So we have an officer on our side, 2 on the sheriff's office, and we were able to analyze all our own phones. We wrote about 5 search warrants for some electronics, and that busted that case wide open, Floyd, and we were able to do that and run with it immediately. In the past, we used to have to send that information out to DCI, and whether that went to Casper, to Sheridan, and we were kind of put in line. So what we did in the course of 4 days probably would have taken 4 months. So like I said, with the help of Underground Railroad, DCI helped us out with some of the equipment, and we're running on our own, and the officers here and the deputies are doing just an amazing job.
And, in a situation like that, with the use of such a great piece of technology that really transforms the game, I'm sure some people in various cities around the nation probably wouldn't bat an eye at this.
Correct.
Oh, we've had this for years, and oh, that's nothing big. But boy, it's almost like the Spencer rifle. One little piece of technology really changes the game. Would you agree with me on that this has just changed the game for local law enforcement there in Buffalo?
Oh, totally, Floyd. It's totally changed the game. And to see it happen so fast, I think that is the amazing part. This is something that we put into play and used immediately. I mean, this is, and that is just one case. We've had other cases that unfortunately I can't go into because the sensitivity of it. But the last 3 weeks have been very busy, last month, and using that technology, and you'll see it probably, in a couple of weeks after court and after it comes out. But that technology is being used almost daily at this point.
Wow.
And it's keeping our community safe. I mean, a half a pound of meth is that's nothing to bat an eye out, whether you're here in Buffalo or if you're in a big city. That's not something. And then if you think about that in the mindset of that much is getting distributed out to our community. So, and that's being cut. So you have to think about how much of that did not hit our streets and our schools and our kids and our families here in town and around town, and in the county. So I was super proud of the work that these guys did. And Floyd, they did it on their own. They are very proactive. Much of the country has become a reactive policing. That's not happening here in Johnson County and in the city of Buffalo. Our officers are out there. A couple of the guys came in on their days off, and they wanted to come in on their days off to work these cases to see it through.
That's amazing to hear. When it comes to that amount of, and for those individuals out there who don't understand, that part of the drug world, boy, that is a lot of drugs, isn't it?
It is. It was quite a haul.
And like you said, they're going to end up cutting that,
Yep.
which actually means that they're going to take like a more pure form of that drug and mix it with some other stuff to make that last longer, and they can sell it to more individuals.
Correct. And the information sharing that we have now with DCI, with our the ATF, the DEA, it doesn't stop just with our case. This is information that can now be used to find out where is this coming from, where's the source, and it's just one piece of the pie, and we're going to continue and investigate it until we can keep this stuff out of Buffalo.
Now, one more time, sir. I know you said it before, but how many perpetrators were actually apprehended?
Just in that case alone, we had 5.
5 individuals.
Correct.
Which, doesn't sound like a whole lot, but that is quite a bit when it comes to a drug bust, isn't it?
It is, and then for our small community, it's a big deal. And again, I couldn't be more proud of the work that our men and women do here, whether it's from our dispatchers down to our officers. It's not easy, and they've taken the challenge, and they're running with it, and they're doing a great job.
That is fantastic to hear. Now, I know we can't give too much away, but you are hoping that these arrests lead to other arrests.
That is correct. Yes, sir.
So we're always working our way up. Now,
correct.
Taking down drug dealers isn't the only service the Buffalo police have provided recently. At the other end of the spectrum of service, the Buffalo PD operate the Blue Santa program. I love this program. Chief, can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes. So this program is strictly donation based. So it shows a lot of what our community does. Erica McCarter, who's our admin assistant and wears many hats in the police department, a very hard worker, and her husband, Brian McCarter, who's an officer here with the department. They kind of spearheaded this. And what that is, Floyd, is we have donations. This year we had 4 families, up to 15 people. They meet with the families. They find out what the needs of these families are. It could be anything from paying a bill to helping with rent to putting a transmission in a vehicle. It could be to buying Christmas gifts for the kids. Once we get all that together, we had volunteers come in and help us wrap. We had an entire training room full of toys. I had the unfortunate experience of putting together a kitchen set that required about 4,000 small screws, but somehow I got volunteered for. But, man, I tell you what, I got to experience, I knew about Blue Santa. This is the first year I've had the involvement in, and I kind of just rode their coattails and helped with the delivery the other day to 3 of the families. And Floyd, let me tell you something, with all the negative publicity that we have these days and the horrible news we have, to watch these families light up, to watch these kids light up when the police show up. Erica was there. The kids come out, they play with the lights. It's such a positive interaction, and to see what our community does to come and raise money, and it's no small amount, and to watch these families and to know that we're helping them during the holidays and in the future, not just for Christmas, but it kind of really get you in the Christmas spirit for sure. And we have a tendency of being jaded, and you see the worst all the time. And to see something like that was absolutely amazing.
It's got to be, and I often talk about the not jaded. I mean, that's the word, but the pressures that officers, firefighters, EMTs, that these people go through every single day, and it begins to wear you guys down because you are human. And
Correct.
So I love to see refreshing moments where, just like you were saying, Chief, situations, it refills your cup.
It does.
You walk into the office today and you think, now I remember why I'm here. And it's little things, that are just so huge. Little things that are huge. Those small donations made by individuals within Buffalo to the Blue Santa program turn into such a big deal for so many people over there. And I do want to thank, Officer Brian McCarter and Erica McCarter. Those 2 individuals have been doing this for a number of years. And both of them give so much time.
They do.
To this program.
They go out, they shop, they do the shopping, they meet with the families, and they have a lot of help. But they really, and for the folks that donate to Blue Santa, they don't get to see the smiling faces and the work that they do and the impact that they have. And I just want them to know, and like you said, what a huge impact they have on these families and these kids.
It changes lives, Chief.
It does.
It really does. All right, Chief, one more time. What would you like folks to keep in mind regarding this weather outside, whether it be something having to do with driving or safety?
Yeah, I would say if you're going to be out and about, obviously have an emergency kit in the car, whether it's hat, gloves, blanket, whatever it may be. It doesn't take long. The visibility is so bad that, we are actually still out patrolling. The worry is that if we have a slide off on the highway or somewhere we're not going to be able to see them. So if they get stuck, keep a charged cell phone. If you don't have to go out, I would say if you can stay in, stay in. I would love to be there. But yeah, just stay in if you don't need to. If you have to go out, be mindful, take it slow. Know that we're out and about. If you need us to please call 911 and our dispatchers will get you out there and get you home safe.
Chief, I want to thank you for calling in today, and Merry Christmas to you, sir, your family, and everyone on the Buffalo PD force.
Thank you, Floyd. It was always a pleasure, and I'm going to go eat a donut now.
Yeah, that sounds great. I'm going to try and make it home. Hopefully, I don't have to have one of you come pull me out.
Well, be careful, please, and Merry Christmas to everybody, to you and your family and everybody out there. Well, I really appreciate all you do.
Thank you, sir. All right, folks, you've been listening to Public Pulse on 930 KROE and 103.9 FM. Sheridan.